Hi guys, I'm looking for like articles regarding earthquakes, why such um continuous earthquakes are happening in southern Philippines in Mindanao, especially with the epicenter in Tulunan, North Cotabato. Um I'm a Mindanaoan and I'm actually living here in Cebu for now, in the Visayas, in the upper southern part of the Philippines. And I want to like dig more on how the question for me is then that why we can't, or why isn't there a department, or maybe what do we call this, a public or even private sectors that can really forecast when the next earthquake, big or small, will happen. Because if you can, actually it's obvious that we have Philippine volcanologists, even we have the department for that, but they are always just giving us the exact or the on the spot um, earthquake that is happening or happened, but they can't give us the future of when or what, when, where, or how how big or how damaging it'll be. So we have to read or to be enlightened or be inspired by these facts. So I want to share with you how, or read with me, so that we can all be somewhat given ideas or thoughts or facts that can really help us understand why we can't, and what is an earthquake basically. So here goes. I found a blog. It's from the Science in the News, celebrating 20 years. So here's a blog from April 22, 2019. So it is entitled with predicting the next big earthquake. So guys, this is for everybody. This is for worldwide or like internationally based maybe a study or factual information. So you just have to like relate, so that we can have many, even minimal additional information, so that we can be knowledgeable. Okay, so this is by Franklin Wolf, figures by Abigail Burns. Over the past half century, earthquakes have been the leading cause of death from natural disasters and have imposed dramatic cultural, economic, and political impacts on society. Compounding their inherent physical hazard is how they strike suddenly without obvious warning, and how they possess a fatal attraction for humans. Most of the world's largest cities lie in areas of major seismic activity. As a doctoral candidate in the Department of Earth and Planetary Sciences at Harvard University with a focus on understanding earthquake phenomena, the most common question people ask me is, so, when is the next big earthquake going to happen? Unfortunately, the answer is somewhat dissatisfying because the truth is, we really don't know. Why is this the case? What is so special about earthquakes that make them so difficult to forecast? We will ever uncover a reliable prediction method? Answers to these questions are the holy grail of earthquake science, and if answered, could protect society from the next big earthquake catastrophe. So here's what is an earthquake. The Earth's rigid outermost layer consists of seven major pieces called plates. These plates move around because they are riding on top of a slowly flowing layer called the mantle, similar to saltine crackers floating on top of a bowl of thick soup. These plates move at about the same rate as your fingernails grow. When these plates collide with, pull apart from, or slide against each other, energy gets stored in the rigid outer layer. This is a similar phenomenon to compressing a spring. This energy is released when it surpasses a certain threshold, causing the ground to shake. This shaking of the Earth's surface from a sudden release of energy is called an earthquake. Ooh, that's it. So the majority of the world's earthquakes occur along the plate's boundaries, such as along the outer edges of the Pacific Ocean, colloquially known as the Ring of Fire. So this is the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is an area of particularly high earthquake activity, or orange, along the outer edges of the Pacific Ocean, is known as the Ring of Fire. As seen in the inset, California's crust is riddled with cracks known as faults. So the tremendous forces with which these plates crunch past each other, however, extend beyond the immediate vicinity of the boundary. For example, the crust beneath Los Angeles, which lies 30 miles from the active plate boundary, which is the San Andreas Fault, is riddled with cracks. These cracks, which are called faults, store and release energy in the form of earthquakes. California's crust is similar to a smashed glass window pane, in which the San Andreas Fault is just the most prominent crack. Why is it so difficult to forecast the next big thing? Next big earthquake, rather. Quake. Let's start with the simpler part of the question: where will be the next big earthquake occur? It has been shown that larger faults typically give rise to larger earthquakes. Theoretically, if all of the faults were mapped, then we should be able to put constraints on the strongest possible earthquakes a given region would experience. This is important because the energy released by the earthquakes can vary by a factor of quadrillions. What the fetch? However, estimating fault size and the corresponding energy released is not always so simple. Faults often exhibit complex geometries, which makes it complicated to model the area of the fault. Additionally, faults can rupture in tandem. 13 different faults failed at the same time during the Kaikoura earthquake of 2016 in New Zealand. Furthermore, recent history has demonstrated that earthquake size does not always correlate with damage. Depending on where it occurs, a moderate magnitude earthquake can be more devastating than a big one. For example, the 1994 Northridge, California magnitude of 6.7 earthquake resulted in major property damage and loss of life, whereas the 2018 Fiji magnitude 8.2 earthquake, which was 178 times stronger, did not cause any damage. Thus, the magnitude of earthquake does not tell the whole story. Now, for the more complicated part of the question: when will the next big earthquake occur? Timing is the most difficult challenge in the game of earthquake prediction. This is true. In fact, two of the theories that inform our best predictions could be flawed. The first theory is called elastic rebound theory, which states that the Earth's crust will bend and deform under intense stress until eventually it breaks under the strain. Slippage along the break, example as an earthquake, allows the rock on each side to rebound to a less deformed state and release the stored energy, allowing the process of accumulating strain to begin anew. The second theory is called the characteristic earthquake, which describes how the most studied earthquake generating faults seem to have distinct segments. These segments repeatedly rupture to produce earthquakes of similar magnitudes after accumulating a similar amount of strain in the intervening period between earthquake events. Assuming these theories always held, you could predict when the next earthquake will happen based on the location of greatest unrevealed terrain, the time since the last earthquake on the fault, precise knowledge of the fault zone, which may never achieve for many areas. In 1985, this framework led earthquake scientists to believe that the Parkfield segment of the San Andreas Fault was overdue for an earthquake. The most sophisticated monitoring effort in the world was deployed to capture it in action. Scientists stated confidently that the next earthquake would hit by 1993 at the latest. However, the earthquake occurred over a decade later in 2004 and without any warnings. This type of discordance between predictions and data is common, and no reliable prediction method has been discovered despite numerous attempts. Thus, even the most prevalent working theories of earthquake prediction which are grounded in science and useful for understanding earthquake phenomena, are not fully reliable for prediction purposes. So, what can we do? Today, prediction methods are primarily focused on probabilistic earthquake forecasting, which is the statistical assessment of general earthquake hazard in a given area over a certain time frame. Probabilistic forecasting concerns the odds at which an earthquake might occur, while the earlier technique of deterministic prediction involves specifying exactly what an earthquake will occur, when an earthquake will occur. Probabilistic forecasting can provide warnings to areas that may be more prone to earthquake risk, allowing them to bolster their earthquake resistance with improved infrastructural designs and emergency measures before a potential future quake occurs. The probabilistic earthquake prediction technique is currently being employed in California through a model called the Uniform California Earthquake Rupture Forecast Tree, which provides authoritative estimates on the likelihood of earthquake fault ruptures throughout the state. As inputs, the tool includes the geometries of all major faults in the region, as well as the most current data on occurs, how often earthquakes occur, and how strong they are when they do. Figure 2 is an earthquake early warning system in action. When an earthquake begins, fast-moving P waves are detected, and emergency information can be disseminated before the arrival of slower moving surface waves. A second promising development is the earthquake early warning system. Upon detection of an earthquake, it provides a real-time warning of seconds to minutes for neighboring regions that might be affected. Oh, this system takes advantage of the different speeds of seismic waves that make up the energy radiating from an earthquake. In short, if the system detects the first arrival of the fastest waves, known as P waves, before the arrival of the more dangerous, slower moving surface waves, an alarm can be triggered. Using high-speed automation, even a few seconds of warning could be enough to stop machinery, such as trains, elevators, and alert people to get to safety. Currently, the rail system in the San Francisco Bay Area uses an earthquake early warning system to automatically slow trains when an earthquake occurs. This system called Shake Alert is now being implemented in California, Oregon, and Washington. Dr. Richard Allen, a seismologist at the University of California, Berkeley, is one of the leaders in the field and helped develop the Shake Alert system. Allen is developing a smartphone-based detection system and has shown promising early results, early results in densely populated regions. So Mexico City residents are alerted by an earthquake early warning system siren to exit the building just before it collapses. However, falsely warning of an earthquake that never occurs is costly due to the unnecessary activation of emergency measures and the potential disruptions to commerce and everyday life. And similar to crying wolf, it could undermine the credibility and effectiveness of future warnings. To circumvent these issues, artificial intelligence (AI) technologies could be implemented to detect patterns and signals in the earthquake prediction data that humans cannot see. According to Dr. Brendan Mead, a professor in Earth and Planetary Sciences Department at Harvard University, the way we approach problems in the geosciences may be reversed in the future. Instead of using equations to model a given system, we may use AI to search for an answer and then try to understand what it means. The application of AI to earthquake prediction is still in its infancy, so time will tell whether this approach is effective. So, when is the next big earthquake going to happen? We may never know, but I remain optimistic that we can limit earthquake hazards to society. Whether the solution is found through AI, earthquake early warning, or continually improving probabilistic models through better understanding of the earthquake process, there is much improvement that can be made to increase our resiliency. Franklin Wolf is a doctoral candidate in the Earth and Planetary Science at Harvard University. Connect with him about earthquake hazards, energy resources, or NBA playoff basketball and click. So Abigail Burrus is a third-year organismic and evolutionary biology PhD student who studies LE for development. For more information, okay. So that's it. So dun napansin ko, I've noticed that they have been using really trying to have that system that is somewhat can give the society better inputs so that we can forecast somehow earthquakes, these waves, these P waves, and even try these early warning systems. I really do hope actually. I'm really positive, and when I'm positive, I believe I just wanted like a better result, like a positive one. Here in the Philippines, we have this. I'm not sure, but I have an iPhone. It's 5S. It's outdated, I know, but every time there's an earthquake happen, maybe after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, they will like um my phone will alarm or signal weird sound actually that is more hazardous when you hear it, and then you can see a pop-up message. Actually, I received one alarm this morning because of what happened in the North Cotabato in Mindanao. The epicenter was in Tulunan, same goes 2 days ago, and same as the October, what's the date? 17th? Is that 2 weeks ago? So I'm not sure how actually how they do that. I'm not even online. I'm not connected online. It's just that it comes in a form of a message. It's our country's way of NDRMC is the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management something, and they give us messages like that. I really appreciate it. I don't know how my phone got it. I I'm not using my phone actually. It's just all for messages, and I don't connect it that much in the internet. So I'm really amazed by how that happened. Before I gotten messages like that before, but it's years ago. So now I'm just really relying to these messages so that somehow I'll be informed. It may be 10 minutes late from the actual earthquake that happened, but if you're in a different location inside a region or in a specific country, it can help you a lot. We have read a while ago that they're developing that this one, yeah, they're developing this one. So P waves that comes faster will be detected to, to the next or from by the next region, so that when the slower P wave, which is more destructive, at least the person who is in the next region will be automatically informed using this early warning system in action. So actually, it's just um, very alike with the NDRMC from the Philippines. So our NDRMC, I thank you this. I thank you for this. I hope the AI system that they're talking about here in the article will be, uh, even if it's in infancy, still in infancy a phase. I hope it'll it'll be more developed. I know scientists, doctors, um, that so those who are or able to give their inputs or somehow share, doing their best for us, for the people, for the earth. I salute you for being so um, being so caring. It may be your job to do things like that, but with the intensity of the people's um, pain, and even that their mind or our minds are really in question. When, where, how big, from how many years from now? So many questions we can't even find the answers to. We can even imagine how we can survive if and if and only if this happened, or for about how many years from now. We need to be ready. So sometimes people will tell you that you cannot ever be ready because this is not there's no possible way we can probably forecast this type of um, natural calamities. But with the help of the developing technology, I hope and I knew in my heart and in my mind, there's the chance that we can really bite into that system, that we can be that the people, or from the whole wide world, that can benefit from it, even if it is connected or not connected to the internet. I know internet is so very powerful. Let us use this time, this generation. We use we use this type of technology very widely. We must do that. In that sense, we can be informed, no matter where, no matter how simple or difficult. We are helped. We're gaining help. We are supported, and I hope people from all around the world will be more informed, and somewhat be in unity with those who have the power to help. And I thank all the people globally, locally, um, health health departments, those who are in action every time such calamity happens. So, and I thank you for listening to this, and uh, this will help me a lot, exercising what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm so bothered by the pain and the news, and the effects of earthquake in my region 12 in the Philippines, and I hope we are all praying for safety, and we hope that no matter what happens, life will bond us, will give us chance to somewhat be united for this, and the efforts will never be wasted. So thank you for reading with me, and somewhat listening to whatever I'm saying. I'm just really um bothered, and somewhat in this bothersome mind of mine. I'm in I'm in fear. So listening, giving inputs to this, talking about this is giving me or releasing my tension. So whatever form of tension you have, these issues or climate issues or calamities you have, make way to somehow release it in a way you could do, or in a way that you think you can give positive inputs also to other people. So in that sense, I'd like you to um, read more actually articles like this one. It will help a lot actually, because it helped me a lot. I thank you for Science in the News.